Welcome to the Wealthy Woman's Podcast, a podcast for high-achieving women who are great at making money but struggle to build wealth. You'll learn how to take control of your money, increase your net worth, and make more. Ladies, it's time to create a life with more money and more freedom. Let's dive in. Well, hello there. Welcome back. Today's episode is going to be a good one. We are going to talk about the do both method. So I created a concept of doing both, enjoying life and building wealth at the same time. So many people think you have to sacrifice your lifestyle in order to build wealth, and it's simply not true. And so I am going to talk about that today. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we're going to really get into the definition of what it means to do both. We're also going to talk about why you haven't been doing that. What's preventing you from doing both? What's preventing you from building wealth and enjoying life at the same time? We'll also talk about how to do both at the same time. I'm sure that's what everybody wants to know. So we're going to cover that as well. So let's go ahead and dive into the definition of doing both. So here's what it means. It just means to use your money in a way that allows you to hit your financial goals and to live a fulfilling life and a joyful life at the same time. I'm going to say that again. It's to use your money in a way that allows you to hit your financial goals and to live a fulfilling and joyful life at the same time. So in order to be able to do something like that, right, you have to know what it means for you in particular to enjoy your life. You also have to have some financial goals, right? And so I want to dig into that. But before we go there, let's talk about what may be holding you back from doing that now. The number one thing that I believe is holding us back is what we hear in society. So many personal finance gurus shame us women for buying coffee or going on vacation or buying fancy shoes or nice handbags, right? And so I think so many of us high achieving women who have done everything right, we work hard, we are making money, and we just can't reconcile living a boring, frugal life in order to build wealth. It's like we know we want to build wealth. We know we want to have lots of money. We know that. But we're being sold a bill of goods that say, hey, yeah, you have to wait until you're retired to enjoy your life. Work hard, save, don't go on vacations, don't go to restaurants, don't buy anything nice. Make sure you're clipping those coupons. Because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to build wealth. And it's just not true. You can do both at the same time. So I subscribe to a that and kind of world, not an either or, which means we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can build wealth and enjoy our lives at the exact same time. Okay. So I don't want you to buy into that notion because that is exactly what's keeping so many of us stuck. Right? I saw a cool little Facebook meme that made me laugh. It was like, I think it said something like, you want to live, or I'm living in between, you only live once, and I should be saving money. And I want you to know you don't have to live in between those two worlds. You can combine them. You can live and save money and build up your net worth, right? So that is what we're going to talk about next, like how to actually do that. So really, the first thing is let's define what it means for you to enjoy life, because it can mean something totally different for me than it means for you. And so you, my friend, have to get really clear on what does it really mean to enjoy life? Because I think a lot of us think that it means that you just spend money on any and everything whenever you want, and that's what it means to enjoy life. But I beg to differ. Because if you really sat down and decided and thought about what's most important to you, what are your true values, then you would know that impulse spending and buying things that you will never use, they typically don't make the list of what's most important to you. right? I do think you should have some freedom with your spending. And that's why I always tell my clients in the Wealthy Woman's Academy to make sure you always have some money that you can just do whatever you want with, right? Every single paycheck, have an amount that you can just do whatever you want with, so you can buy something that you think is cool and just buy it without it being a problem. But at the same time, you should also know what's most important to you. So inside the Wealthy Woman's Academy, we do an exercise called Discover Your Values. And it's a worksheet where I list probably about 50 or so different values that someone could have. And just to name a few, some of the values could be financial security, travel, fun, family happiness, self-development, spirituality, charity, appearance, beauty, adventure. I mean, there's just so many of them. And so what the worksheet tells you to do is to pick your top 10. So sit down, get relaxed, and just have fun and circle your top 10 values, right? And then from there, narrow it down to between 3 and 5. And then from there, you can see, okay, these are my top 3 to 5 values. Okay, if these are my values, how am I doing in regards to spending my money in alignment with these values? So for instance, if you value, I'm just going to pick 3, travel, financial security, and self-development. Let's just pick those 3. If those are your values, then you should be able to look at your bank statement, look at your credit card statement, and say, yes, I can tell that these are my values because I'm always saving, I'm always investing, I'm paying off my debt. So that's financial security, check that off the list. That's taken care of. And then I could also say, okay, travel is another one of my values. So, yep, I can see that every single month I'm putting away a certain amount of money in my travel fund so that I can have a couple of vacations a year and go on those vacations without worrying about money. And when I come home, I feel rejuvenated and well rested instead of financially strapped. And then you can look at your other value, self-development. If that's your value, you can say, okay, and I can tell from my statements that I definitely value my self-development and I'm allocating money to those things. I have an Audible subscription. Maybe I'm in the Wealthy Woman's Academy. I'm getting my money mindset under control and I'm learning how to handle money. Maybe you have a coach, a life coach, or maybe you're going to therapy, but your self-development is apparent in the way you spend your money. So that is what it means to enjoy life, right? It doesn't mean that you just go crazy and spend without regards. It means that you get clear on what truly matters to you the most, and then you align your spending towards those, right? And I'm not saying that every single dollar that you spend should be aligned to one of your values. That probably is not the case for most people. That won't happen. And that's why I said earlier that I always want you to just have a stash of money that's just for you to spend however you want, right? That makes sense for you. Okay, so that is how you determine what enjoying life means to you. Next, what does building wealth mean to you? How do you determine that? Well, that's another thing where you just really need to sit down and reflect. Where am I financially? And then start setting goals, and always set goals as you achieve them. So for instance, when people work with me and they join the Wealthy Woman's Academy, the first thing we do is sit down and create 3 to 5 financial goals that they want to accomplish over the next 6 to 12 months, right? And then we sit down and we prioritize those. And then once they have those goals, that's their building wealth piece of the puzzle, right? So if, let's say, they do not necessarily have a fully funded 6-month emergency fund, if they don't have that, then that might be one of their first goals. Maybe the next goal is, hey, I've got some credit cards that I'd like to knock off. Maybe that's number 2. And then number 3 could be, and I want to pay off my car. I want to get rid of my car note. Let's just say those are their top 3 goals. So if that's the case, then their money the way they spend their money should be allocated towards those goals. A portion of their money should go towards those goals one at a time. So if it's the emergency fund that they want to create, then maybe they are just going to automatically have a certain amount from their paycheck going to a whole nother account so that that account can build without much fanfare. It can just happen automatically, right? And then once they hit that goal, they can start working on the credit card debt. And they can create a debt snowball, and then they can start paying extra on each debt as money comes in, right? So that is how you can start to do both, right? Understand your values, what's most important to you, because everything can't be important to you or you'll run out of money. I'm just going to say that right there. So many people think, oh, I'll just make a bunch of money and then I can spend however I want. But you can never, ever out-earn an overspending problem. Right? That's a whole nother episode, but I just want to make that clear that no matter how much money you make, you still want to be clear on your values and you still want to have some financial goals you're working towards so that you're just being intentional with your money. Because when you're not intentional with your money, the money disappears, right? Money that is not being paid attention to just disappears. And I don't want that for you. And I'm sure you don't want that for yourself. So I'm offering this do both method so that you can enjoy your life, make memories, have fun, but still build wealth. So you can do these things, the fun things, guilt-free, right? There is no shame in buying a latte if your 401k is fully funded and you've got your 6-month emergency fund and you have no debt. Like, who cares about a latte? Who cares about staying at the Ritz-Carlton when you have all these other things lined up, especially if you have it in your plan and it's something that you value, okay? Now, I do want to tell you that as you evolve as a person, your values will evolve. So your values may not always stay the same, just like your goals are going to evolve, especially as you keep hitting them and you get those foundational things underway, like your emergency fund, and you have very little high interest debt or no high interest debt. And then you are investing at a really great level. It's like, okay, then you may have some even bigger financial goals. So your goals are going to evolve. Right? You might want to start a business. You may want to start investing in real estate. You may want to start doing some cool things with your money at that point once you get those financial foundations under control. So as you evolve, again, your goals are going to evolve and your values may evolve as well. So an example of your values evolving may be that you have young kids at home and education is one of your values and you choose to spend your money in that way. So you may have a child in private school, or you may be sending them to like extracurricular activities that cost money. You may be saving for their college. So if education is one of your values, that could show up in how you spend your money. But as your children grow up, guess what? That value may start to go away because you've gotten through that stage of life, right? So I just want you to also know that be willing to look at your values and your goals consistently and know that as you evolve, your goals and values may also evolve, okay? So the final thing I'm going to leave you with is that you want to be able to do both. You want to be able to build wealth and enjoy life at the same time. And in order to do that, you want to let your goals and your values drive your behaviors with your money. So let's do away with the mindless spending and not knowing where all our money goes and just not paying attention to our money and wanting to avoid our finances altogether and start getting conscious and intentional about our money. And the way we're going to do that is to figure out what matters to us. What does enjoying life really mean to me? And get the notion that being able to spend recklessly and impulsively is the definition of enjoy life, because that is not true. That's not true. The real definition of enjoying life is to do things that bring you joy, to do things that bring you true fulfillment, and without a negative consequence on the back end. The problem with spending recklessly is that a lot of times it robs us of our wealth building abilities, and we have to deal with those negative consequences on the back end. But if we can say, I know that that's not what enjoying life really is, and that's just me being impulsive, and I really want to hone that in a little bit more, and I really want to spend my money in a way that feels good to me, where I can feel like, yes, this is how I want to spend my money. And then there's no guilt on the back end. There's no negative consequences on the back end either. You get to just enjoy life. So this is the stuff we work on inside my group coaching program, the Wealthy Women's Academy. So if you want to learn more about that, shoot me an email, go to my website, and we will see you there. I'll talk to you during the next episode. Bye-bye. Hey, before you go, if you're ready to create a life with more money and more freedom, then you're invited to join the Wealthy Women's Academy, my signature coaching program where you'll learn how to take control of your money and build wealth without sacrificing your lifestyle. To get started, head on over to JermaineFoley.com. That's Jermaine with a G, Foley.com. See you there.